So you're thinking about making a move to Redlands, California. Well, if you're not from Redlands or you don't know anybody that you can talk to who can fill you in, I think there are 5 things that you definitely need to know about Redlands before you're making a big decision like buying a home here. I was born and raised right here in Redlands. I lived here almost my entire life. I've seen it change and grow quite a bit, but perhaps its biggest changes are really right around the corner, or they seem like they're right around the corner, but we're not really sure. So you need to know what's happening. And then after that, there are some other things that I think would be very helpful for you. If you stick around to the very end of the video, I promise to point you in the direction of what I think are the 5 best neighborhoods in town where you should start your home search. Okay, let's get started. The number one thing that you need to know about if you know nothing about Redlands is what is happening with the old Redlands Mall downtown. Since 2009, it was completely shut down and has just been sitting there completely empty, except for probably maybe only about 20% of the square footage is still being used by CVS. So CVS has a little, not so little, but a store and a pharmacy there that has done very, very well, even though the Redlands Mall is just sitting completely empty right behind it. So what's going on, right? The city council approved the real estate developer's plan, company out of Newport Beach, who proposed a plan to completely redevelop the property and some other properties beyond the mall. That was approved in 2020-22, and then announcements were made that demolition would start in 2023, but we're already well into 2024 and that building is still standing. So what gives? What I've heard is that CVS is going to be moving into a brand new building right across the street. And once that happens, then construction can start on what is called State Street Village. So if you go to statestreetvillage.com, you will see some beautiful pictures, plans, all kinds of information about what is meant to be constructed, here in downtown Redlands. Now, I am a little bit skeptical that it's going to look just like this. I hope it does. I think it looks great, but there definitely are going to be some people who won't be so happy. There was a measure that was on the ballot in 2022. However, Redlands residents voted by 65% to shoot that proposal down. So the plan is still on. It's just a question of when can CVS get out and when can construction begin? It's meant to offer over 700 apartments, 72,000 square feet of retail space, 12,000 square feet of office space, restaurants, shopping, a brand new parking structure, which is heavily needed. That was a big issue when people were campaigning for the measure to, where are all these people going to park? And we already have a new parking structure in town, but parking in downtown is definitely an issue. But it seems like things are finally moving forward. There's one corner, not attached to the mall, but in the same parking lot. There used to be a Denny's right there. They've moved across the street. In that same building, there was a mattress store. They've moved out. So it's kind of like slowly but surely, looks like plans are finally coming together. But it seems like once that situation finally is figured out, then hopefully construction can begin. So definitely something that you want to keep tabs on, what is happening with downtown Redlands. Very cool thing that is already happening is other restaurants are already opening, right? So if you go right across the street, and this is the second thing that you need to know, is that new developments are already happening. There's a brand new restaurant right across the street from where that old Denny's was. It's called Finney's. Great bar and restaurant, appetizers, salad, sandwiches, burgers, all kinds of TVs to watch the games. Great spot. Right across the street from there on Orange, there's a new Irish pub called the Three Stags that opened up just about a year ago, I think, maybe a little bit less than that. So downtown Redlands is definitely an expanding area, and it's very exciting. But like I said, the main question is what is happening with the Redlands Mall. The other thing that is opening soon is the Redlands Public Market. Now, this is meant to be opening summer of 2024. So very, very soon. This is actually quite cool. So go to redlandspublicmarket.com and you can learn about the history of this building. Way back in the early 1900s, Redlands was very, very well known for the amounts of navel oranges that we were producing and getting out into the marketplace. So they have historically been preserving this building to open it up for all kinds of micro restaurants and bars, something it's going to be like food truck type settings, but kind of like more permanent inside this building that we're working on. So definitely an exciting time to be checking out new things in downtown Redlands. Okay, now the third thing that I think you need to know about is the people of Redlands. Right? So in Redlands, we have just under 75,000 people here in town. According to the 2022 census, 73,849 people. The median age of residents here in town is 38. The median household income is $94,000 per year. 44% of household incomes are making more than $100K a year. And one thing you need to know about Redlands is there's quite a lot of kids, right? It's a very good place to raise a family. 22% of residents in Redlands are under the age of 18. On average, there are 2.6 people per household. 58% of residents are homeowners, and on the median monthly owner cost for those homeowners is just above $2,600. And then for the 42% that are renters, their median monthly cost is just above $1,700. So all that data is pulled from the 2022 census. So like I said, definitely a very good place to raise a family. Median age is 38. So definitely people older than that and definitely people younger. That's just the most are right there in the middle. So I don't think you'd have any problem meeting new friends if you're coming from elsewhere. So at just under 75,000 people, that number might be going up a little bit once finally State Street Village is built up. Okay, now the fourth thing that I think you need to know about buying a home here in Redlands is that most likely you're going to be buying a home that is an existing home, a resale, right? It's not going to be a brand new construction. There are some brand new homes right across the street from Citrus Valley, but for the most part, land is pretty much used up here in Redlands, and you're most likely going to be buying a home that was built decades ago. And what you want to pay attention to is when your home was built, right? We have homes that were, built all the way in the late 1800s or early 1900s, some of those really cool Victorian homes. But also a lot of homes built in the 60s, in the 70s here in town. And the reason you need to be aware of that is because in the 60s and the 70s, manufacturers were building homes, and the chemicals that we're using in paints and in other stuff had asbestos. And asbestos is very dangerous. We know now, after the late 1970s, we know that these manufacturers couldn't use that kind of paint anymore. So you want to be sure to get a very good home inspection job complete. Make sure you know about the plumbing so that you just don't run into any major headaches as a new homeowner. You could find yourself in a brand new home here or there, but like I said, like the majority of the time, I'm pretty sure you're going to be finding a resale home. Now, this could also be an opportunity for perhaps some real estate investing. There seems to be quite a lot of homes in Redlands that really haven't been touched since they were built, right? The kitchens and the bathrooms look really, really dated. I've done a few open houses and I've realized that some of those situations, the best kind of buyer in that situation might be an investor who's looking to modernize the place. So you just kind of have to find the right opportunity for you. And the very last thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of, and this might not apply to you, is that Redlands is a very vibrant and busy place where people come from all around our surrounding communities to take place in Redlands. For example, we have the Run Through Redlands. It's always the first Sunday in March. We have the Redlands Bicycle Classic the first or second week of April. We have the Believe Walk. I think it's always the first Sunday in October. Now, from my perspective, I love all these events. I try to get out to those as much as I can. But I've heard, some other people say, oh my gosh, we have something else is, blocking off our street this weekend. We have to think about going somewhere else for the weekend or whatever it may be. So if those kinds of things aren't for you, then maybe you need to be a little bit strategic about what neighborhood you want to buy in. Another thing I think of is Halloween. There are tons of people that come to trick or treat in Redlands. A lot of people are all for it, but it may not be for you. All right, there you have it. As promised, here is a video on what I think are the top 5 neighborhoods in Redlands to start looking for your home.